Hello, Facebook. Come on in. Sit down. Hello, Facebook. All right, everyone. So welcome. And it's day 5 of the Design Your Greatest Life Challenge. I'm Mia Sines, and this is Lori Montree.
Yes. Can you believe it? It's day 5 already, and we've made a lot of progress. We have just, covered some really important ground. That first day, we really started to get into a space where we could understand that whatever we want to create, we absolutely can, right? I shared with you the story of Roger Bannister, who was the man who broke the 4-minute mile record. And the reason why that was so important was because it had been, attempted for centuries. And it had been pretty much decided that that was beyond the scope of human ability, that was not something that we were ever going to see. And Roger Bannister said, actually, I think I'm going to do that, right? And part of his training was the visualization of the event itself. He wasn't like, I'm going to just train as hard as I can and, be the fastest in the world. He was like, I'm going to break the 4-minute mile. They say it can't be done, right? But I'm going to do it. And he believed it with all of his being. And that's exactly what he did. And the story would be incredible if it stopped there, but it didn't stop there, because within just a few months, dozens of other people broke the 4-minute mile. And it just goes to show that when we believe in something, right, he opened that possibility for other people. And he said it can be done. And when they believed it, their bodies could do it, right? And that's how everything is. When we truly believe it, we are such powerful beings that we really can create whatever we want. And so day 1 of the first step, right? Day 2 of the challenge was, okay, we've established that you can create whatever you want, but let's create in a way that is authentic to you. Let's create something that will truly bring purpose and meaning and fulfillment in your life. Let's not just waste it on a Maserati or some aspect of life, like married with 3 kids or, some limiting thing. Let's really,
not that that's bad at all.
Exactly. But the point is, right. But the point is, it's got to be from a place of my authenticity, what will actually be, and that aligns with my gifts. That's the reason why we're here, is to do that. And the beautiful, beautiful thing that me and I really want to stress in this whole mission that we're on here with The Greatest You is that when you do that, and when you connect with what will truly bring you in your life purpose and meaning, fulfillment, and abundance, because that is part of it, like we're saying, then the whole world benefits, right? It's the greatest you, but for a better world. Because when we're operating as the greatest versions of ourselves, there's no way that we can't have an incredibly beautiful and powerful impact on the whole world in our corner, which then spreads out to the whole world. And so this is something that, we're creating, yes, and we're deciding from a place of authenticity, what is it that I want to create? So that was an important part of our process for you. And then we, started the brainstorming, where we looked at, okay, what does this look like? And really got those creative juices flowing and got some meat on the bones of our vision. And then yesterday, of course, the assignment, the integration was, let's take that brainstorming and break it down into bite-sized pieces that we can accomplish little by little, so that we can actually begin action, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And the integration, which I'll go into a little bit more detail in just a few minutes, but the integration is going to be, okay, how do I take those steps and actually start taking action, right? Inspired action. It may feel like, and so many people say, I've got all this stuff going on right now, I couldn't possibly, I'm overwhelmed, and there's just no time for it. But there is a way. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. But first, Mia, would you please just kind of touch on how we can, what it requires for us to show up in this step, to take that inspired action? How do we do that?
I really love this, because when you go from not knowing what to do to knowing what to do and to create something, there's magic there. One of the things that I teach both in this area and also in the mystical side, because I'm a mystic teacher as well, is hindsight. Hindsight, you get to recognize what's happened. And if you look at it, you can see how the process builds. And so you can shift and change that and also feel into the awareness as it starts to come. See, we're getting in touch more with our emotions and our feelings. They're beautiful triggers. Some people call them intuition. So know them and love them. Another thing is fear. Get rid of your fear. Your fear will hold you down. The word I can't is the most binding word that I know. Because if you can't, there's no way to do it.
Yeah. Mia, can I ask a question about fear just because we're talking about it? You know, I, for the longest time, fought against my fear and felt, negative towards the fact that I had fear. And when I learned to kind of transmute it as, the fear is just a message like, pay attention, do your homework so that you can succeed. For me, it was more about not getting rid of it, but being brave enough to stand in it and know that it didn't limit me, that it served a purpose, but that purpose was not to stop me.
Right. And we also get to the point as we work through fear, we get to a point where it becomes less fearful for us. We're like, okay, just breathe. It's okay. Yeah. So in fear, as my beautiful Lori was saying, it's like, remember her name. She's only your partner. In this whole process, it's about getting to a base level where you can see everything. You can see the joy, you can see the fear, and you know how to move through it. Some of us call it surrendering. Some of us call it surrendering and working through the emotional space. Again, the hindsight allows you to see as you work through that it wasn't as scary. Mm-hmm. So when you surrender to the fear, it's not that you're going to love it, but you become aware, and if I can say friends with it, it's not that I'm not friends with fear, but I understand it and I can move through it. So I guess it's a tolerance and understanding, because that's part of who we are. And then as we break through and understand why we have fear, believe me, we are. There's 40,000 years of built-in fear into our DNA system. It goes down cellularly through your family. We were once cavemen who would step outside the cave and either be knocked over by a saber-toothed tiger or beaten on the head by a Neanderthal or something, who knows? Yeah. But the point is, because there was a 5,000, 7,000 year where they actually overlapped, because we find out in our DNA that there's people on our planet today that have Neanderthal in them. Mm-hmm. So understand that the fear comes from that. So we work backwards. It's a death, it's a fight flight thing. And so if you know you're not going to be killed, right? If you look at it and reverse the fear backwards, understanding it. If I lose my job and my paycheck, am I going to die? No, you're not. And then you start bringing it backwards. Am I going to lose my house? Well, maybe if I don't do anything about it. So take proactive steps, call people, look for something else. So it's about looking, and we've been talking about time management and organization. If you lay it out, write your stuff out and organize it and put things on your calendar, it allows less fear because you have a plan and a process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And fear is something that comes from our early childhood, along with the cellular crap that comes through us. So when when a car comes at us and stops and doesn't hit us, we have fear, and then it goes away, but we feel discombobulated. Yeah. So you rebalance yourself and you move forward. That's the same way that fear did not hurt you at all. So when you look at it, it's like, oh, okay, thank goodness, I just need to be more careful and pay attention. Yeah. So that's how we work through fear and understand it. It's a process, just like breathing. It's a process, just like laughing and loving. And it is to save us, but we are a different world than we used to be. So listen to your interior, your intuition, your emotions, your feelings, and move gently through that. Does that sound right to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the fear, it is something that blocks so many people. And we're going to talk about some of the blocks, because we don't want you to get caught up on any of the blocks that people typically run into. Fear is one of them. We spend time in our course that we've created, the Greatest You Academy, We've spent time on the fear, right? And we recognize that this is a muscle that we can build over time, and really, like you're saying, all of this is rooted in us. It's from a physiological, psychological standpoint. That in this fear, it's not a bad thing if we were cavemen, right? I always give the people that I work with the example, like your brain is brilliant. If you walked into a cave with 50 sleeping puppies and a poisonous snake over in the corner, your brain is going to be like snake, and it would lose sight of all the puppies, right? So our brains are very trained to help us identify, worst case scenarios and where's the danger here so that we can pay attention. But so often we let it stop us. And we take that as evidence that we shouldn't go forward. So learning how to work through that, as you say, is a big part of the work that we do with people. And we're going to talk, like I said, about some of those blocks tomorrow. But it's important to be kind of thinking about that as you sit down to do this integration work and you challenge yourself to find time. You may have some fear, right? You may have resistance. You may come up with 25 different reasons why you couldn't possibly put any of these activities that you created yesterday on your calendar. And that is something, we're going to look at. We're here to help you kind of work through that. If you tell us, I got stuck on this, maybe you're feeling stuck in one of the other steps, whatever it is. We definitely are here to help you get through that, to coach you through that, to guide you through that so that you can just continue on going forward. But today, the big thing with this homework is your own mental recognition that if you want this, there is time and space available. There is time and space in your schedule for all the things that you find important. So as you redefine your priorities a little bit in order to make space for this, I would say the most important thing in your life, right? The connection with yourself and feeling into and start living, right? As your most authentic self. That's the most important work that you can do. So with that in mind, Mia, how would you say that we can, really dive into the actual putting things on our calendar and, setting aside a couple of sacred time periods? Maybe it's Monday morning, Thursday afternoon, or every other Saturday that I give to my vision. What are some other ideas?
So there is time and the space. Well, I want to say one thing really quick. It's about the fear. So what is opposite of fear? Love, peace. So we want to have that. Sorry, my dog, I'm not just being weird here. She's under the desk. There's a place within us that I used to say up until 14, 15 years ago, I'm so scared, I'm afraid. To one of my coaching friends, and I was a coach or getting into the industry, said, why do you say that? And I realized that I was speaking something that wasn't even true. So be aware of your language and your energy of your language. It's really important. If you want to be in the place of peace, you're going to examine fear, and you're also going to examine love, and you're going to work with that. So getting this stuff on your calendar, we all think until we don't and we know better that we are overwhelmed, we're exhausted. Why? Because we haven't trained ourselves, like Lori said. So I want you to look at your schedule. Think about it. This is not a scary thing. Sorry, guys. Look at your calendar, look at your schedule. And we have moments and spaces. And if not, I'm going to tell you this because this is the grown-up thing, and you're going to get mad at me. Wake up earlier. Go to bed earlier. It's what you have to do. If you've got kids or you're going off to work and you want to work out, you want to greet the morning, you want to meditate, you want to start your day perfect so that you're smooth, you make that time. It takes time and effort and energy in order to have freedom, literally. Once you start to do this, you can see the smoothness and working with time. That's one thing that Lori and I love to work with people is the time, because from going from I cannot even move, I have so much stuff, to being free as a bird. Those are spaces that are opposite, and you want to be free as a bird with your stuff. You want to feel that lightness. So make sure that you, because if you're a parent or if you're not a parent, the point is you have to take time for yourself. Unfortunately, some people don't understand this, and I'm going to say it. It goes back to self-love. How much do you care about you? And as women, sorry men if you're watching this, but as women, we tend to take care of others over ourselves. We've been trained that way. Stop doing it. You got to stop and say, wait a minute, what's important to me? The kids, yes, but I need my time too. Husband or boyfriend, yes, but I need my time too. Look at the areas that you feel you want to build your strength up. Say it's the morning, say it's after work. You take that time for yourself before you get involved with the rest of the world, and build yourself up so that you can accomplish everything that you want to. On one of our calls, I was talking to, on all of them, the different people and how they were going to space out their time. And when they saw that light bulb, they were like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be able to write, to go for my walk, to work out, to meditate. They understand that it brings them the peace and love that they've been looking for, because that's their deepest desire. So do this for yourself. Look on your calendar, see where somebody could take the kids for a couple hours, see where your assistant could take your stuff. And if you don't have that kind of stuff, it's okay. I didn't for years, and I created what I created. So it literally is about organizing your time without fear. If you want it, you have to dream it, and you gotta feel it. And in that feeling of it and that deep connection, nothing should stop you. Remember, you are that important, literally.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a big block for me. I know I spent so long, just telling myself that I didn't have time, that, and I would try, but I couldn't make it. And sometimes it takes that outside viewpoint to help you see where things can actually fit in and where you are giving yourself over. And I just want to say a couple of really quick things. We will touch on this more, but it's a really big part of the program that we run, because what people find is when they're running, and we talk a lot in the program about survival mode, right? About living in a survival state when your nervous system is really just activated a lot, and you don't feel safe, you don't feel calm, you feel like, tigers are chasing you, and you're very reactive to life, all those kinds of things. In that state, we're very inefficient. We're operating in that state from our limbic system, from our primitive brain, and that brain doesn't have access to how to do everything efficiently. It doesn't have access to better ideas and better ways of doing things. So we think this is, hey, the way I'm doing things, there's nothing left over. But when you work with your nervous system and you build your capacity and you start operating from this higher place in you, you find that you are able to do twice as much in half the time. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just created all this space. I didn't have to take things out of my life necessarily, but I'm able to do more because I've worked with my nervous system. I've stopped being reactionary, and I'm just in the zone, right? People talk about that. I was in the zone and I got so much done. And instead of having glimpses of that, that's how you can live your life. So we'll talk a little bit more about how the nervous system and that place of overwhelm, how it impacts your ability to do this work and how it could be a block. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow, but just know for today, while you're going through this integration work and putting those blocks of time on your calendar, and also, scheduling in that step, it's going to go on Thursday afternoon, whatever, and then protect it, right? Don't look at it and be like, this other thing is more important. No, there probably isn't anything more important than what you've put on your calendar. The last thing I'll say about that is, please don't feel like it has to be, you're going to go from feeling overwhelmed by the process and not having any time for it. Don't schedule 4 hours next week, right? Because that's just you're not going to do it. And then you're going to have the energy of frustration and the doubt and all of that. So start small. Be willing to put those 2 10-minute periods on your calendar next week and just get the win. See yourself doing it. The consistency is really important, because when you consistently see yourself showing up, whether that's for 5 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it is, you consistently see yourself, then you become somebody who's doing that. I am somebody who takes the time. I am somebody that's creating that. I am the author. I am the person that is creating relationships. I am the, whatever it is that you're looking to create. So getting the win, so being willing to start small and really being consistent with it are the two things that will help lay the new neurological pathways for this new way of being.
It's beautiful. I love that you brought that up, the calendar, and remember, guys, small increments to begin with, because I'm sure you've heard of self-sabotage or sabotage. We have our internal system set up until we don't, that stops us. It literally stops us. So move through that and celebrate the time that you actually took. If you want to write and you can't write in that short time and you have stretched out to a little bit longer, be gentle. As a writer myself, we always can move to different projects or ideas and pull them in and shift the energy. So know that you can do whatever you want to do. If, in those times, they will grow and expand.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, this is where the rubber meets the road in some ways. There's nothing else really to talk about. You've got your steps. And so now it's time to start taking inspired action. It does not have to be perfect. It's just, another way that you show up and declare, this is what I'm ready to create. And you will be rewarded by that. So again, I want to mention, posting your homework is one of the best ways that you can not only receive support from us, support the other people who are in this challenge, a way for you to, we're going to be reaching out to some of you who've been posting and just with some special offerings. And this is where you declare, right, and really show up for yourself. So please post your homework in the, maybe the times that you set aside for the work in your calendar, or next Thursday, I wrote down, I am meeting this person. I made an appointment to, whatever a significant step that you have scheduled and are ready to take. And the other thing, which is really important, I want each one of you who are watching this video right now, right, as soon as it's over, as soon as you wrap up, I want you to go to the link to schedule the accelerated call with us. This is how we're going to help you see where to find time. This is how we're going to help you see the blocks that are coming up for you, or the ways that you have tried to do this work in the past and something came up and stopped you. This is where we support you and guide you, so that doesn't happen for you again, so that you keep moving forward and make this week and all the effort that you put into it, make it really worthwhile, so that it carries forward and the momentum grows and you get what you came here for. So schedule your accelerated call today with us. The link will be in the replay. Go back, if any other emails that you received, we're putting it in everywhere so that you have easy access and can get on our calendars.
I just texted our assistant and said, send me the calendar link. So what's on there now in the classroom is for 15 minutes. This is a longer session. It says 45, but we're having it between 30 and 40 minutes. And it will be here soon, and we'll put it up there like Lori said. So if you did get one for 15 minutes, or you want to, we'll just wait for the calendar link. It'll be here very soon. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's some of the most important things that you can do is to get that guidance and support. And so we look forward to connecting with you guys and really want to say thank you and how inspired we've been by
2 more days too. 2 more days.
Absolutely. Yeah. And tomorrow, I would say in some ways is one of the most important days, because, we are going to go over the blocks that we see constantly, and you will recognize probably some of these blocks in ways that have, stopped you in the past. And so it's really important to understand that. And it's not because you are lazy. It's not because you lack willpower. It's not because you didn't have the right step or the right resources. None of that is the reason why you haven't been able to create what you want. It is one of the things that we'll talk about tomorrow. And there are definitely ways to overcome each and every roadblock that you could possibly face.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow and have a beautiful day. All right.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.